Yes. Hello, football lovers and Arsenal lovers. Welcome to FootyWit Podcast, the Arsenal fan corner. My name is Ehis Anthony, and I'm here with Okpe. And we have a guest on the episode today from United Kingdom in London. His name is Jide the Great. Jide, what's up?
I'm very well. I'm in high spirits. We're still in lockdown here, but keeping mind, body, and soul, spirit together. So, yeah, can't complain. Life's good.
Yeah, life is good. Okay, what's up? How you doing?
I'm great, man. It's been very, very hot in Lagos. My, it's been so hot.
So
currently, I'm happy to be honest. I'm happy to be under the air conditioning so that I can focus and have fun on this podcast.
Yes, so we all Arsenal fans, Gunners, were gathered on this episode. We're here to talk about, Arsenal. We love Arsenal. That's what we're here. And Arsenal of late, pulling two solid results back to back, away matches for that matter, over there in Greece, and also at the King Power Stadium, defeating Benfica 3-2. That game was my heart was in my mouth. And also Leicester City rather. A game I never expected that performance from Leicester City, but it was kind of like, a good game for Arsenal. But having said all that, we're here to just discuss the way forward. Arsenal. Jide, I know you don't like being called an Arsenal fan, but you don't have a choice. You're an Arsenal fan, whether you like it or not. So what's up? How's it been the past two games? What's your take?
Well, first of all, let's clear the misconception. How do I put it? I just don't like to be boxed corner. I'm a football fan first,
Yeah, we all are. We all are football fans.
And then after that, I'm an Arsenal fan. And I'm just one of those Arsenal fans. I don't really get too emotional about things. I say it the way it is. If we're not playing well, I say it. And if we're in a good run, because I do get banter from friends from all across the world, especially on my WhatsApp when I post they're always talking about, oh, you're happy now, and then, oh, you're sad, So I just don't like to be boxed in the corner. So
yeah, that's the life of an Arsenal fan, though.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so how's it been the past two games?
Look, it's been okay. To be honest, I think the game against Leicester was the one I was most comfortable with. If I'm being very honest, the match against Benfica, I was thinking to myself that, look, have these guys not learned from what happened last year with Olympiacos? I felt like probably they were maybe too relaxed at the back. And sometimes I didn't see that urgency to win, but then one of the facts is just that Benfica is actually a good team. They're doing very well in the Portuguese First Division. So despite the fact that as an Arsenal fan, I expected Arsenal to have swept them away, even from the first leg, you need to give credit to Benfica. They put up a good fight. But then again, the quality came out from Arsenal. And then, Bukayo Saka and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang just saved the Gunners once again. And thankfully, move on to the next stage.
Yeah, going straight into the episode, we have matters we'll be discussing. Let me just start from the first topic. Jide the Great, sorry. Do you still trust the process? Ever since Arteta took over Arsenal, over from Unai Emery, and we saw a resurgent Arsenal. We went ahead to win the FA Cup, even if we went out of the Europa League in a way that we were not supposed to, and though we finished 8th in the season last season in the EPL last season, and comparing that to this season's run, it's been topsy-turvy. Like you said, today you're happy, tomorrow you're sad as an Arsenal fan. And looking at how far we've performed this season, 10th position on 37 points. After 26 games, we've won 11, we've lost 11, and also we've drawn 4. Do you still trust the process?
I trust the process. I've always trusted the process. I've always felt like Mikel Arteta is a good coach. What I don't like is the fact that we've not been consistent this season. I mean, we've just been going up and down, We've lost to teams that we're not supposed to. Teams that we have no business losing to this season. Talking the likes of Aston Villa and even Burnley that we're going to play next, we lost to Burnley at home. You know, we have no business losing to teams like that. So I've always trusted the process. I think it's going to take time. It's going to take time for us to get to where we really want to be. I mean, a lot of Arsenal fans who are old enough can remember what Arsene Wenger did with the Invisibles. You know, the foundation of the team was built on Arsenal playing quick, fast, counter-attacking football, conceding less. You know, we had good defense. We had good defensive midfielders, the likes of Patrick Vieira, you know, and going forward, you know, the likes of Thierry Henry, Dennis Beckham. You know, even if you go back to the days of Kanu and, you know, so many players that we can mention. Beckham. You know, Arsenal has, a lot of good history around, you know, playing good football. And then somehow, towards the end of Arsene Wenger's reign, we just kind of started to become a mediocre team. I'm not sure whether you understand what I'm saying. So and then when Emery came in and he didn't help matters as well. So it's going to take some time, you know, and I think we need to be a bit more patient. But at the same time, football is a very high intensity game. If your club has been at the top of you know, football history, and then all of a sudden Arsenal is not, I can't even remember in my lifetime when Arsenal was kind of competing in that. You know, we're almost becoming a team that's struggling to even make the Europa League now. So just to answer your question, I still trust the process. I just want to see a bit more consistency with what Mikel Arteta is doing with the team. He seems to be relatively getting to a point where he's stable. At least you can almost predict his first 11 every match now. You know, and then he has his backup players. He decided to rest Aubameyang over the weekend. It was good to see that they brought in almost like a second team, and they beat Leicester conveniently. So trust the process, but I need to see some consistency.
Okay, there was a time it was Arteta in, Arteta out. I think you were on the wagon of Arteta in. I was in the middle because at that time Arsenal were just going topsy-turvy, you know, getting, you know, destroyed or losing at home. I know you were Arteta in, so I definitely know your stand that you trust the process.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've always trusted Mikel Arteta because from the get-go, I mean, it was clear that he knew what he wanted. You know, first of all, him taking over, he never had his preferred squad. Even till now, he's gradually getting there, just like Jide said. But then, this is not the Mikel Arteta team that you'd eventually see winning titles for Arsenal. I know when he first came, the first thing he did was just to curb individual errors, you know, switched over to his three at the back so that, you know, individual errors are curbed and then they are defensively compact and then they can still be efficient going forward. However, I think it took too long for him to switch back to the 4-2-3-1. And I think when we had those, that run of like 5 to 6 league games without a win before he then turned over and then pass the mantle to the people who really want to play for Arsenal Football Club. People who are willing to die, you know, wearing the brand. That's talking about the young kids. You know, but then thinking about it, I'm wondering, you know, why did it take so long? That's just because he's someone who believes in his own system, his philosophy, and he feels like if he's giving you the opportunity to play, you should be ready to die on that pitch. But then he had to realize that, look, some players were not just cutting it, and they probably needed that reality shock. You know, so after dropping some big names on the bench, eventually, slowly, we've seen over the last few weeks that they have, you know, gotten up to par now. Most recently, Willian as well is now in form again. But, you know, it's funny because Freddie Ljungberg seemed to have had that hindsight already. Because I remember the game against Everton just before Arteta took over officially, you know. Ljungberg started at least 5 youngsters, you know, Martinelli, Saka, Smith Rowe, Nketiah, and Willock as well, who's currently on loan. So I think for now, Arteta knows those are willing to die for the club, and then he's now ready to, or rather now he's able to infuse the senior ones who are finally now woken up. So definitely I do trust the process, and I'm willing to see where Arsenal will be under Arteta probably like the next 2 to 3 seasons.
Well, I would like to get Jide's opinion, because for me personally, I felt it was ever since Ozil was shipped out of that team we can now see a new Arsenal, a resurgent Arsenal. Because I've gotten a lot of stick on this, saying I didn't back Ozil up and Ozil out, and I didn't want Ozil. Ozil has, sacrificed a lot for the club, and why is it that now that we don't want Ozil anymore, we want him out of the club? But I just want to get your thoughts on this. Jide the Great. Sorry, did you feel Ozil factor inhibited Arteta's progress this season? The backroom shenanigans, the politicking behind the different fraction or different set of players coming together to hinder whatever progress is trying to make. Did you think Ozil's factor was important in deterring Arteta's progress this season?
Yeah, I mean, if you're paying a footballer 350 grand a week, they're not playing. We don't really know what's going on. There's so many stories, and then you added the coronavirus break to it. The club wanted him to take a pay cut. He didn't want to. It just kind of it leaves a nasty feeling in the air. Uncertainty is never good in football. Football players want to know whether they're playing or not. Their teammates who have known them for years, who think they help improve their game, would want to know whether they're playing or not as well. The likes of Ozil, Lacazette, Aubameyang, they've created some kind of synergy on the pitch. They've played for years under Wenger, under Unai Emery. He knows that, Aubameyang would know that if he's making a run, he knows what kind of pass Ozil is going to throw. And all of a sudden, for some reason that we don't understand, Ozil's not playing. I personally think there's more to it than we know. But there's only so much that you can say because there's not enough evidence. But football is what football is. I personally think that they weren't going to re-sign him anyway. If his contract was going to run out this year, they were never going to renew it. It was going to move him from Arsenal anyway. The problem we had was freezing him out of the team and him not playing. He had the right as a football player to say, okay, well, if you're not going to play me and you're not selling me on, I'm not taking a pay cut. I'm sitting where I am, and then you pay me my salary, week in, week out.
But Arteta had mentioned several times that Ozil really didn't fit into his philosophy in terms of his style of play. Was it left to Ozil to be the one to take his game to the next level, to fit into the manager's philosophy, or was it down to Ozil?
Yeah, I personally think it's down to Ozil. Most football managers this age have a way of playing, and you as a football player, you're paid to commit to certain things. Ozil has just been that kind of player. I don't know whether he's lackadaisical in his approach. He's just not the player to chase the ball for 90 minutes. But if you're playing with the kind of philosophy that Arteta believes in, you have to run for 90 minutes. You have to know how to manage the game quite well, and you have to put in your shift for the team when you're under attack. That means when you're defending. And I personally think that Ozil just felt like, he couldn't be bothered. He can't do that. But the thing about Ozil, his body language is always much like, defensively for having a bad day, and Ozil is not really doing anything, going forward, or the team is just playing poorly going forward. He just kind of looks like what kind of football player did we sign? But we know that when Ozil is on top of his game, if he's going forward, he's throwing the passes and Arsenal scoring, it just looks like a new signing all of a sudden. But the philosophy that Arteta wanted was completely different, and I don't think that he will have been able to deliver it to him. So it was just a good situation for everyone at the end of the day for him to move on, and he's moved on to better things. I watched one of his games recently, playing for Fenerbahce, and he looked sharp. Again, he wanted to play football, don't get me wrong. I just don't think he would have into this modern way of playing football for Arsenal.
True. I know Okpa has been this Ozil fan, giving us stats, assists, all the likes. But seriously, I'm happy Jide just, Jide has helped me out here because it's like it was speaking my mind, and I liked it. It's a win-win for both parties, Arsenal and also Ozil. And I explained football again in is it Fenerbahce or Galatasaray? Fenerbahce, it's playing good football there. So Arsenal as well, we're doing what we're doing. But to round off this first question, okay, trust the process. Like you said, you trust the process. But are this the set of players that can take Arsenal to the next level? Should Arteta be looking at, bringing in new players? For me, Bellerin, I don't need to. I'm critical of Bellerin really, because I don't see him being a critical stay or being that mainstay on that right back to take us to the next level. Should Arteta be looking at bringing in players that will take Arsenal and even qualifying for the Champions League before talking of winning or contesting for the league?
Yeah, definitely. He needs new players. But, just before I talk about new players, let me just speak on two things Jide said. So first of all, I do agree with the fact that there is more to what happened with Ozil. And then second of all, I've realized something now since Ozil has left, and we've seen more of Smith Rowe and Martin Odegaard. Now, what I did realize is that I do agree with, and I do believe when Mikel Arteta did say that one of the reasons why Mr. Ozil is not in his squad is due to footballing reasons. Now, why is that? If you look at the start part now,
finally you agree. Finally.
Finally I agree, because I've seen the lights now. So when you take a look at the start part,
and you
take a look at
seeing the lights,
the movement and creation from Emil Smith Rowe. When it comes to creation of chances, you see that Emil Smith Rowe creates a lot of chances coming in from the left-hand channel. You take a look at Odegaard. Odegaard creates a lot of chances coming in from the right-hand channel. So the thing about Mikel Arteta and whoever is going to be playing as the number 10 for him, this person needs to be mobile, so that whenever this person gets boxed up in the middle, he can then move over to the wings and create gameplay, because you can't be stuck in one position. What happens when you're up against the best defensive midfielders in the world? What happens when you're up against an N'Golo Kante and a Kovacic at the same time? You need to always bring that dynamism into your team, and that's something that we've seen from Smith Rowe and Odegaard. So definitely, Mikel Arteta was right for keeping, or rather freezing out Mesut Ozil from the squad. So now when we take a look at this current squad, are these players good enough to take Arsenal forward? Obviously not. Mikel Arteta needs a couple of more signings, to bolster up the squad and to take them to where they belong.
Bellerin, number one.
Yeah, you take a look at Bellerin currently. You see that Bellerin is a major reason why not being productive. A lot of times when Bellerin and Pepe had been paired together, you would see that Bellerin really makes a good pass for Pepe, and then you see Pepe with it.
But I don't want to go into that analysis, because for me, I felt it was harsh on Bellerin, because there are games when Bellerin and Pepe had played together and we won those games. So I think it's just been harsh. True. Yeah.
There are games where both Bellerin and Pepe have played together and Arsenal have won. But then what has been the contribution from that right-hand side? Nothing, actually. If you take a look at most of the games where there has been meaningful contribution from both Pepe and Bellerin in the same game, you actually have Pepe playing over on the left wing and Bellerin maintaining his right back position. So there seems to be no relationship or synergy between both of them playing together on the same side. Whether it's Pepe playing with Cedric while Cedric was playing at left back, or Tierney or Saka, whoever's playing at left back, Pepe always performed well. And then we saw how well Pepe was so comfortable with Cedric right behind him. And then you could see the options that Cedric was giving him. So you could see more chances being created by Pepe. You could see himself getting in goal position. So apart from that right back position, probably Arsenal do need another right back. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is not a right back, although he can ply his trade there, but he's more comfortable as a right wing back, not a right back. So definitely another first team right back is needed. Another first team left back is needed. Kieran Tierney has been playing fantastic football for Arsenal, but then whenever he is injured, Arsenal does struggle. Yeah, Cedric can play there, but then you can't take away what a naturally left-footed player can do on the left side of the pitch. Going forward also, in the middle of the pitch, what happens when Thomas Partey is injured? With all due respect to Elneny, he's not up to par. So Arsenal need another central midfielder, and also probably another first team another attacking midfielder. We don't really know what's going to happen with Martin Odegaard at the end of the season. He's contracted to Real Madrid. His current net worth value is about £60 million, and does Arsenal really want to spend £60 million on the 21-year-old? I really don't know. Probably they want to spend money on a proven player. But then so far so good, Odegaard has been brilliant in my own opinion. But then going forward, I mean, we've heard about the likes of Emil Buendia from Norwich City, and then there's a certain sector of Arsenal fans that have been clamoring for a certain Argentinian who plays for Udinese. That's talking about Rodrigo de Paul, and that's someone who is extremely versatile, can play in any position in the midfield, and that is someone that I believe Arteta would benefit from if he's in that team. And then going forward, obviously the attack. I mean, Lacazette has 1 year left on his contract. Aubameyang has, by the end of the season, Aubameyang will have 2 years left. I like to believe that Arteta is thinking about the future. And then he's got Edin Ketia, he's got Florian, about £40,000 a week. And I mean, pounds a week. So when that is coming from a player who is yet to be Premier League proven, you then begin to wonder. Although Arteta says that, you know what, he's in high hopes with it. He says Edu is on it. Edu is in talks with his agent. So let's see if Folarin Balogun will stay. However, we're talking about proven and tested players because Arsenal needs to win the Champions League. You know, according to what Willian said, when he did sign for Arsenal, Arteta told him that in 3 years Arsenal will win the Champions League. I don't know about that, but then let's just see how that goes. So, you know, also one more position is the left wing. Yeah, the left wing, I think that's a position where they need to strengthen. We've got a couple of world-class players who will be on a free transfer by the end of this season who can come in and play left wing very well. Talking about Julian Draxler, Memphis Depay. You know, there are many options for Arsenal going forward. They just need to make the good business decision.
Well, in football, anything is possible. Anything really is possible. So just moving on, Jide the Great. Arsenal play Burnley tomorrow. What Arsenal do you want to see against Burnley tomorrow?
I want to see an Arsenal that is, you know, calling for blood. Losing at home to Burnley this season was not something that
it was so
a lot of fans expected.
So sad.
It was very sad. I think that was one of the lowest points of the season for us. You know, that was just a huge reality check that we shouldn't be losing to a team like Burnley. Burnley at the moment are not in a good run. I don't think they've won in 5 or 6 games. They've either been losing or they've been drawing. So Arsenal have a really huge advantage over Burnley at the moment. I'll be expecting Arsenal to
But they did
just
well against
continue
Leicester City in the last game. They did well. Cost Leicester City a little problem. Though it depleted Leicester City side, though.
Are you talking about Arsenal or we're talking about Burnley here?
Burnley. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disputing that they did well. I just see them as a team that are trying to like keep their heads above water at the moment. They've not won any game in their last 4. In fact, I would stretch and say in their last maybe 8 games, they've only won just 1 against Crystal Palace away. The last time they had a good stretch, you have to go back to early this year, you know, where they beat Liverpool, they beat Fulham, and then they beat Burnley. They beat Aston Villa. So apart from that, you know, they've lost 2-0 to Chelsea. They've lost to Manchester City, they drew to Brighton, and even
the FA Cup. They lost to
Bournemouth. The FA Cup. They lost to Bournemouth as well. So they're not really having a good run of games. They just can't trying to keep their head above waters. But the thing about Sean Dyche's team we all know them that they're the very thing that keeps them, you know, in the league is the same thing that you should be wary of, because they always find a way of just staying there. Like it's almost like they're relegatable. You know, you can't really get, you know, right now I think they're number 15 on the table, right? And they've got 29 points. You know, teams like Fulham or Sheffield United will be dying to be in that position at the moment. So I think Arsenal needs to be very wary of that. You know, they play extremely physical football. They don't have the most intelligent players, apart from the likes of J. Rodriguez and maybe players.
The guy that wears the number 11. What's his name again?
Yeah, when I look at the Burnley team, and their goalkeeper is not bad as well. Nick Pope.
Nick Pope, yeah.
When I look at the team, there's not really much to rate with Burnley, because if you go on the streets and you ask an average football fan to name like 4 or 5 players in Burnley, most people will be able to tell you
True though.
who played, but they are very gritty, they're hardworking, they put in the shift, and they can grind out a result if they want to, and that's very evident in the last 4 games, apart from losing to Tottenham away 4-0. Like you said, they drew Leicester in the last game, they drew West Brom, and they drew Fulham. And those 2 clubs, Fulham and West Brom, were relegation candidates. At least they made sure that you're not going to come to our pitch and beat us, because if you beat us, then we are going to become relegation candidates as well. So I expect Arsenal to just come out all guns blazing. We're on a good run at the moment. Beat Leicester in our last game, we beat Benfica, and also in the Premier League, apart from losing to Manchester City, we beat Leeds comfortably at home. So Arsenal should just go out and win that game. It's revenge time for us, to be honest. Yeah, and I would love to see Arsenal make top 6 this season.
So at least we can qualify. It's possible. It's just 7 points, I guess, away from the top 6, even top 4. The top 4 position, 9 points, I guess.
Yeah. Currently 6. I think 6 points away from top 4 currently.
No, upper is 10 points. Sorry, 10 points. Chelsea is on 47 points. Arsenal is on 37 points. Yeah, so good one. I like that. Go in there, go kill Burnley. But Okwe, it's been. I think Arsenal we've not lost a tough more in our last 8 games in the Premier League. I hope Arsenal keep calm. Nobody gets red carded. Lewis don't do anything stupid. Shaka don't get crazy. I just hope, because really I want us to take that 3 points. 3 points, it gives us that impetus, because our next game is against in the Premier League is the NLD, the not London Derby. Because if we tend to lose that match tomorrow, or we drop 2 points, shoulders tend to drop. And we don't need that right now going into the North London Derby. So, Okwe, just in a minute, what's your take on tomorrow's game? What Arsenal do you want to see?
Look, I want to see the Arsenal that, as Jide said, is out for blood, really. Arsenal did not have any business losing to Burnley at home. So, we should be coming out for revenge, and then you should see a squad all guns blazing, firing on all cylinders. But this is a problem with Arsenal, which Jide already mentioned at the beginning of this podcast. Consistency is the problem. You don't want David Luiz doing anything stupid. You don't want Xhaka reacting anyhow. You don't want Ben Leno just making
crazy
So
mistake.
what type of Arsenal? Yeah. So what type of Arsenal are you going to see tomorrow? Talking about Burnley, really. Okay, maybe because I am an analyst, I can pick out a couple of players who could make Arsenal cry tomorrow. First of all, they have a great shot stopper. Quite a few should be England's number 1. Talking about Nick Pope. And then, they've got a very decent centre-back pairing. Talking about James Tarkowski and his partner, Ben Mee. So, they've formed a great partnership over the years. They've been a major reason why a lot of top 6 clubs always cry. And then going forward, you've got someone like Dwight McNeil, you've got Jay Rodriguez, you've got Ashley Barnes, who has a fantastic goal-scoring record. You've got Sam Vokes as well, and the Iceland international as well, good monitoring. So they've got a couple of players who can always turn up for them. But this is the thing about Burnley. You need to always isolate them. Don't give them the ball. Arsenal has great possession, that's fine. So what does Arsenal need to do tomorrow? They need to dispatch their chances. The moment Burnley has a whiff of the fact that, they could win this match, they just have that extra energy that comes out from nowhere. All of a sudden, it just seems like there are about 15 men on the pitch for Burnley, and then they're just swarming you all the time with the ball. And then that gives little time or space for people like Odegaard, Smith Rowe, and Pepe to really do much. You then begin to get frustrated. the more you get frustrated, the more you become less productive with the ball. So if Arsenal, and look, from the get-go, which was something that we noticed against Manchester City, and thankfully Arteta has come out to address that, which is the fact that sometimes Arsenal don't hit the gas. They don't hit full throttle.
We start slow, man. We start slow.
Yes, and I'm wondering why they do that. Look, if you know that you are chasing and then you have a target, you are trying to get into the top four, or you're thinking about trophies or whatnot, you should always be at your best from the get-go. So if they have addressed that issue, I believe against Burnley, they need to go in with some sort of vigor, and from the get-go, the same way Manchester City punish them, they need to punish Burnley as well. From the get-go, start scoring your goals, start dispatching your chances. Immediately you start scoring the goals, they won't be able to do much against you. So I want to see a consistent Arsenal side tomorrow and a dangerous Arsenal side.
Yeah, so just to round off this episode of the FootyWit Arsenal Fan Corner on FootyWit Podcast, Jide great. You know, we're in the business side of the season right now, and it's quite. We saw what happened against Leicester City. I was expecting a holding Mari, or I was expecting a Lewis Gabriel. But we'll see what Arteta has done in the past few games, where he rests some players for the Premier League and also make them to play in the Europa League. He's trying to prioritize though, which is quite understandable. But in this period of the season, you need that, you know, consistent 11 that will deliver the results. So if you were in Arteta's shoes, what's your best 11 for the Premier League and also the Europa League? Because I know, based on the fixtures, the congestion right now, you can have an 11 that will play in the Premier League and also have an 11 that will play in the Europa League. It's not going to be possible. So what's your best 11 if you were Arteta, or if you were in Arteta's shoes?
I mean, look, football players get paid to play games, you know, and I know it's not easy. This idea of having to ration your team players around.
We saw what happened to Smith Rowe, though.
But I'm just not a big fan of it, you know. Back in the day, we're talking early 2000s. Football players could play like loads of matches in the season, and in fact, that's what would judge your level of fitness. You know, this idea of just having to rest football players all the time, I don't think it's good for consistency and the synergy in the team. But I think football players should be willing to play week in, week out. You know, that's what you get paid to do. But I know it's never easy. The modern game is getting more difficult, but the older generation that played football as well, I would think that they probably had it more difficult as well too. If you're asking me the players that I would like to see in there, definitely Leno in goal. You know, that is a definite.
But the guy from Brighton ever get a chance? Just sorry for busting in there. Will that guy, what's his name?
Matt Ryan.
Will he ever get any chance? Just ask him.
Well, if Leno gets injured, then he might.
Yeah. Only if.
But only if he gets injured. I don't see him, taking that spot from Leno. I think if the likes of Martinez can't do it, he can't do it. So unfortunately, he's probably gonna have to wait for Carabao Cup games or something like that. So yeah. On the right hand side, I know we've talked about Bellerin. It's not been the most consistent. I still think that Bellerin just needs maybe just one more season to kind of like kick into full gear on that Arteta. But for now, I'd love to see Cedric Soares in there. On the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, Kieran Tierney definitely, it gives us a lot of options when we're defending and going forward, and he's chipping in the goals, every now and then as well. I think over the next couple of seasons, he might just turn out to be a left back that doesn't only defend but goes and score goals. I like the combination of Gabriel and Luis more than Pablo Mari and David Luiz. But any of those three.
Did you see Mari chase down Vardy in the last game? Damn.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a highlight for me, man.
Yeah. For some reason, I like Gabriel because he also gives us an option going forward as well in terms of scoring. You know, he can score goals. You know, and we need to have defenders that. Let's assume
Mara scored one this season. Scored a header.
Yeah, he scored a header. He's very good in the air, you know, and he just needs to be a bit more consistent as well with his performance because a couple of times this season he's thrown in some gaffes, you know. So, but I like the combination of Gabriel and David Luiz. In the defensive, like the two defensive midfielders that sit in front of the. I mean, I'm trying to assume that we're playing a 4-2-3-1 here, not 3-4-3 like we were doing at the beginning of the season. Granit Xhaka and Partey definitely.
All day.
I'm not a fan of Mohamed or Neni as much. You know, I think his best days have gone past him, to be honest. In an Arsenal shirt, but. Again, it's quite unfair because he was away last season on loan and then he came back in and Arteta's just started to use him and he justified it to a certain extent why he's in the team. But it's Xhaka and Partey for me, to be honest. The only reason why Elneny is still getting a sniff, you know, with the team at the moment is because, you know, Partey just needs to get on that level of staying fit without getting injured.
True.
So. Yeah. Going forward, Bukayo Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, Nicolas Pepe, Aubameyang, those four, I really want to see them. Lacazette, in and out of the team. You know, gone are the days where we used to just pair Lacazette and Aubameyang. I think Lacazette, we're moving towards a phase in Arsenal where I think, you know, he needs to score more for him to hold down a regular jersey, and he's not getting any younger as well.
But just to comment there, I feel there is something Lacazette adds to that team that Aubameyang don't have. I'm not taking anything away from Aubameyang, but there's something Lacazette adds to that team because look at his performance against Leicester City. It was fantastic, distributing the ball, holding the ball at the top of the pitch as a striker. Aubameyang can do that, or Aubameyang can do that. I'm not saying he's better than Aubameyang, but there's something in that in those two guys that one have and one does not have. Or I don't know.
Well, if you're playing up front, the principal thing that you're supposed to be doing is scoring goals. Aubameyang might not have as much of a walk rate as Lacazette.
Exactly.
Going forward, is forced. Lacazette is just one of those strikers that he would score every now and then. He doesn't get the consistent runs, but he scores. You know. But when the team needs to work hard, like I was saying about Ozil, you know, some minutes ago, that's some of the things that Ozil didn't have. Like when the team is under pressure, how do you react? Because again, the coach is watching the whole pitch, scanning the pitch and looking at the body language of these football players. Lacazette is one of those people that even when we're still leading, right, and he knows that sometimes Arsenal is just one goal away from losing their lead, you know. He comes in, he puts in the work, he puts in the shift, the graft is always there, you know, it's hard work, and you see him chasing down players, you know, and I think that's what Aubameyang lacks sometimes. Aubameyang will bang in the goals for you if, you know, the right crosses are coming in. I mean, look, Aubameyang saved us against Benfica.
Yeah, true.
I doubt that Lacazette would have done that, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy, man. You know, this guy.
It's almost like you really would, if you're looking for the perfect striker, you need to match those two players and just merge them into one, like, you know, Obazet or something like that, or Laka Oba, you know. You need to kind of like clone both of them and then just merge them into one football player. So that's it. That's what we're dealing with. It's hard to find that, you know, complete striker, you know, sometimes. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Good. Grade 11. Grade 11.
But William though, just before, William. I'm not a big fan of William. With all due respect, I think his best days are behind him. He's 32 now. And hearing what he said recently, that he didn't really want to come to Arsenal, I know he's put in a good shift over the last 2 games, but at 32, the question you're going to be asking is, are you going to get any better, or does it just go downhill from here? Are you going to the MLS, or you're just shifting to another league just to kind of manage your career out? Those are questions you should be asking. So we need to replace him. Once he decides he's going to leave, we need to replace him with, Gabriel Martinelli, for example. I don't know why he's not playing consistently, but again, I know the answer. He gets injured one too many.
I think they're trying to manage him.
Once we can get him,
I think they're just trying to manage him.
Yeah. We don't need players like William and Tim, with all due respect. Yeah. So those are my 11 players.
Great. Nice one. Okay. Wow, we've done 40 minutes. The first 11.
Yeah. Okay, quickly. I want to touch on some things that Jide said, but just let me jump right straight to the first 11, and then probably in between I talk about that. Look, Ben Leno is the undisputed number 1 for us now. I don't see Matt Ryan getting into the team unless we're playing a game that probably Leno needs to be rested, and I don't see any type of game like that coming up anytime soon. So probably Matt Ryan has probably played his only game for Arsenal. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of the season because he's currently on loan. So let's see what transpires in the case between Matt Nisi and Alex Robertson. So going forward, definitely, I want to see more of Cedric Suarez at right back. I want to see more of what Cedric has to offer any attacker he's currently playing with. But, if we're talking about informed players, if we're talking about... I'll talk about Premier League matches consistently and both Europa League, and I'll give you my options. So for Premier League games, probably Bellerin will start more often, to give him more games. But I think when we get to the important games, we need to see Cedric at right back. So
your first 11, no money.
Yeah. Maybe Cedric for Europa League games, and then you have Bellerin for the Premier League games. The centre-back pairing, before the game against Leicester, or rather, prior to the game against Leicester, I felt Pablo Mari was someone who was very slow to react to the ball. And then when I saw what he did in terms of chasing down Jamie Vardy, I was surprised. I was like, wow, this man has legs in him. So you know what? I liked that centre-back pairing between him and David Luiz. But truth be told, against a Chelsea, against a Liverpool, against a Manchester United, against a Leeds United, I would not put that centre-back pairing of David Luiz and Pablo Mari because they're not going to be as fast as those attackers that they will be facing.
Sure.
So I would like to see more of a centre-back pairing between David Luiz and Gabriel, and then probably Mari and Holding. So David Luiz and Gabriel for the important games like the Europa League games, because every Europa League game going on forward is going to be very important. And then Holding and Mari for the Premier League games. And left back undoubtedly is Kieran Tierney. I believe Kieran Tierney is part of the spine of the Arsenal team. Talking about Leno, Tierney, Partey, Saka, and Aubameyang. So that's my back 4. And then in the middle of the pitch, the 2 holding midfielders, Xhaka and Partey. But then if Partey is not available or he needs to rest, definitely I would prefer to see Ceballos instead of El Neni, because Ceballos can do more with the ball going forward and can put in a good defensive shift. So the 3 behind Aubameyang is definitely my top striker. Saka, Smith Rowe, and Pepe. We've seen how effective Pepe has been on the left wing. I think we need to see more from him. And we know anyway you play Bukayo Saka will always produce good football.
Star boy.
So so the major difference between the Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Lacazette is just the fact that Lacazette's hold-up play is a whole lot better than Aubameyang's. Aubameyang doesn't have so much upper body strength, but then Lacazette is so rigid on and off the ball. So sometimes you need a player like Lacazette in certain games. But then this is the thing with Aubameyang. Truth be told, if Aubameyang continues to play more with Odegaard in the team, Aubameyang will thrive more and score more goals for us, because Odegaard has that ability to pick those one-time passes. I remember when Odegaard came against Aston Villa, Aubameyang was making certain runs in between the channels, Odegaard could see them, and he always attempted to make those passes. That was what Aubameyang loved with Mkhitaryan and Ozil. He was able to make those runs down the channels, and these players were always able to catch him. So Aubameyang is the type of player that loves to make those runs in between the channels, or loves to drift over to the left-hand side of the attack and cut in. You know what? So it really depends on the type of thing we're playing against. It really depends on what is going on at that point in time in the game. It depends on the catalogue of fixtures that we do have. But you know what? I believe the most important thing is that Arsenal will be gunning for Europa League trophy, because a top 4 finish or a top 6 finish is not guaranteed in the Premier League. All they need to do is to be consistent. They can't be worried about whatever any other person does. So it's going to be difficult for us now. So they just need to give their best at every point in time.
Well, we hope so for the Arsenal, the team that we love, the team that we support in England. It's nice doing this with you guys. Because of time, we just need to round off. We're supposed to use 30 minutes, but we've done 45 minutes. But Jide the Great, thank you for joining us on the FootyWit Arsenal Fan Corner. Thank you from the United Kingdom.
It's a pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
And we hope to have you on our subsequent episode. Okwe, thank you very much from Lagos. I'm from Lagos as well, so we're doing this from Lagos.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was a pleasure talking about Arsenal.
Yeah, so we hope the best for Arsenal.